Grandma's here to dig into all of that. Marika Walsh is a senior political reporter with the Globe and Mail. Next to her, that's Joël Denis Belvance. He's the Ottawa bureau chief for La Presse. And Najud Al-Maliz is a reporter with the Canadian Press. Hi, everybody. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Marika, you were up there every day asking for answers on who these people are, what's happening, what people are going to do about it. Like, what is your overall assessment of the reaction you got right across the political spectrum?
My assessment is that neither the Conservatives nor the Liberals really actually want to wear this or be the ones to actually act. So the Conservatives are trying to put it on the Liberals to be the ones to disclose the names and not have to sort of do their own internal work. And on the flip side, the government seems to be obliquely saying this isn't as big a deal as you might think it is. And if that's not what they're saying, they're not being very clear then in what they're saying. You would think that with the report being released to the Prime Minister's office in March, they would have had sort of a response plan here, we hear this is what we're going to do about it. This is concerning. I understand why you're concerned by this. This is what we've done or haven't done. Here's why.
I think that's such an interesting and good point, JD, that they could have predicted that the general public and the media would see that there are alleged foreign agents and there would be a reaction to that. It feels like nobody had any idea people would take this seriously.
Yeah, a very unprepared government to respond to this type of crisis. And the foreign interference issue has been going on for months in Ottawa. And this government should know how to deal with it. But every time there's a new revelation, they seem to be taking this issue by surprise. And I think that this will reveal to be the biggest test for the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, how he deals with it. And I think David Vigneault, the CSIS director, provided a roadmap for the political parties to deal with it without going publicly with all the names. The leaders have to take the list of the names that are mentioned, that are known in that censored report, and meet individually with all their respective MPs and respective leaders and ask them the questions and some explanations.
What did you think of the way both the government and the opposition navigated this week?
Well, I think that the whole process has left us all with more questions than answers, and it feels like that's the case every time we learn something new about this foreign interference issue in Canada. I mean, we're here talking about who these people may be. Another important question is also, what is this intelligence actually saying? Why can't there be criminal charges? And we've heard some explanations there, but at the end of the day, I don't know how satisfying it is to Canadians to hear either side on this issue from the government, where there's no clear roadmap of where we go from here, or are we ever going to hold these people accountable if in fact they did something treasonous or broke the law? On the other end, I don't think that we've heard enough from the opposition that they're interested in pursuing this. And if you look at the House of Commons this week, you know, there was some chatter about this, but then the Conservatives were back on the carbon tax.
And we have a little bit of a unique culture in that way, especially relative to the U.S., Marika. But I do think on this issue, maybe even separate from the bigger foreign interference stuff, like imagine in the States, it came out that there were sitting senators or congresswomen or congressmen who were determined to be acting in the interest of a hostile foreign state. I can't imagine everybody would be like, but you know what, let's just talk about something else in the question period in the Senate today.
Yeah, nothing to see here, folks. I think Phil Lagasse with Carleton University said something interesting to me this week. Last week, he said that Canada doesn't have a culture of seriousness around this issue, in part because we haven't dealt with a crisis until now. But he said we are quickly heading there. The system is quickly sort of buckling under just the sheer weight of everything that has come out in the last year. And clearly we're seeing the parties struggling with how to react. You have to have sort of some sympathy for the government in that they are dealing with intelligence that they can't just release willy-nilly. But when it's so serious, when the allegations that are coming out are so serious, you can't imagine that people would just accept that nothing is done, that there's no follow-up. And I think, though, there will be more pressure on Pierre Poilievre with David Vigneault's comments last week in committee saying you could act if you got the classified briefing, and also saying that that was an important way to deter more foreign interference. I think those two elements of his comments really do put pressure on the Conservatives to change course.
I don't know how sustainable it is for that part, for the Conservatives to keep saying, you know, we think our hands are tied when there is testimony to show otherwise, despite earlier on the show Michael Chong disagreeing with that testimony. I also don't know how sustainable it is for the Liberals to keep saying this is just in law enforcement's hands.
Well, to your point, the Bloc Québécois leader Yves Blanchette will probably seek to get clearance from the security point of view to be able to access the documents, and then to make sure that none of his MPs are under foreign influence. So if the leader of a separatist party in Ottawa can do that, why not the other parties? I'm asking that question very openly. And so I think the pressure will remain because there are MPs who don't feel comfortable, being under that cloud of suspicion.
Yeah, very good point. And as far Najid as looking ahead, I think I'm also watching the NDP leader because he has said that he is going to take a classified briefing, and it will be interesting to see the way in which he navigates the issue, the call for names, all that kind of stuff following that briefing.
Yeah, I think the point is made, though, that the two parties that you think of immediately in terms of who could be named are Liberals and Conservatives, given they're the ones who are who form government. And so it'll be, there might be no NDP. Maybe there are New Democrats, but we don't really know. And so that will kind of affect what Jagmeet Singh does or has to do. But it's interesting to see how this all also just translates into the political fight right now and the polling. I mean, as jarring as these findings are in this latest report, we still don't really know if Canadians are actually going to, turn on one party or the other because of what we learned.
Yeah, they certainly didn't before. The only, I think, sort of salient difference is this is like saying that there are traitors amongst us versus like a broader problem of foreign interference.
But you make traitors?
But you make a good point. A year ago, it wasn't moving the dial for anyone, even though they were getting hounded on it every day. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, everyone.